Dear students, welcome to Devika's Commerce and Management Academy, Business Organization. Business Organization, already 3 chapters covered. Now this is the 4th chapter, 4 and 5th chapters. 2 more topics are left. So let me cover these 2 topics, then after that we'll go for another subject. So Business Organization, next chapter, continuation of that you can check out in the playlist. So whatever subject I have covered related to the business organization topics I have covered, please check it out. Continuation of that, today's topic. So one of the important topic of business organization, that is industrial finance. Industrial finance, for every organization, finance, capital. So this is the blood, or otherwise you can say backbone of any organization. If finance is proper, if capital is adequate, capital is there, then automatically organization can run the business smoothly. Why do we need finance? Finance for many things, like to run the organization well, to purchase the fixed assets, and to control the organization. For any kind of activities, finance is required. When organization is struggling for finance, to accumulate the finance, that's a major problem. There are many problems to run the organization, but finance should not be a problem. So that we are going to discuss in this chapter. How the company is going to accumulate the finance, what are the factors which are determining the finance, and what kind of finance, what kind of capital is required for the organization. So that everything in detail we are going to discuss. Are you with me? Yes. So for every organization there are different kinds of capital, that is classification of capital. Capital means which is required for the organization to run the organization smoothly, that is capital, finance, nothing but the finance. Okay, so that classification is 2 kinds, one is fixed capital and working capital. Fixed capital, the capital which is used to purchase the fixed assets, the capital which is blocked to purchase the fixed assets, that's we call it as a fixed capital. For example, purchasing of furniture, purchasing of plant, purchasing of building and land, all these things, machinery. So once if you purchase this kind of assets, that is blocked, you can't change, that is fixed. You have purchased it, you need to use it. Unless you are going to dispose the assets, that will be remaining always consistently in the organization. So that is why fixed capital, we also say it as a blocked capital. So this we can say it as a blocked. Blocked means it is blocked, purchased, the money is blocked, capital is blocked. So you can't use it, you can't do any kind of modification, that is fixed. So fixed capital, important thing for many organizations. Second thing is that working capital. Working capital means this is related to the day-to-day transactions, like purchasing material, payment of wages and payment of petty transactions, and purchasing stock, small petty items. So daily wise transactions like transportation, electricity bill, audit fee. So this kind of items, this kind of payments, when we want to do that, we call it as a working capital. Working capital always varies, it changes. That is why we can say it as a flexible capital also, working capital or flexible capital. But this is also very much important to run the organization for day-to-day transactions, right? So that's about working capital. We'll see about the working capital in depth in the coming class, next class. Today we'll focus only on the fixed assets, fixed capital. The capital which is used for purchasing of fixed assets, we say it as a fixed capital, we have learned. Why do we need fixed capital? Generally for any organization, we need to buy the minimum equipments, minimum places required like land, building, machinery, furniture. These are all things are minimum required. Without this you cannot run the organization. You may not be having the proper building, you may not be having own building, it may be leased or rent basis, but fixed capital something is required. So if this is there, the organization can start the business. So that is why it is very much important, minimum fixed capital is required. Now what are the factors determining the requirement of fixed capital? Why do we need fixed capital? What are the factors? Why? So these are the main factors which are to be required for the fixed capital. What are the factors? The first thing is that nature or character of the business. Nature or character of the business means if the nature of the business is very big and its equipments and everything is needed, then automatically fixed capital is more required for that kind of organization. Best example you can take like government organizations like electricity department or road contracts or railways. So this kind of things, they need more fixed capital. Mainly these organizations based on the fixed capital only. They have to buy a lot of equipment. The cost is much. Whereas if you take normal organization like product based organization, small products they are producing and wanted to sell it, they don't need that much of fixed capital. As I said, the government organizations like electricity and railway, all this kind of things. So that is why nature and character of the business decides that how much fixed capital is required to particular organization. In the same way, next one, size of business. If the business is big one, huge business, having a lot of branches and their turnover is in crores, automatically they require lot of furniture, they require lot of machinery and setup and everything, it is costly. So setup, building, purchasing furniture, purchasing building and machinery, all these things automatically that matters where the size of the business is big. So size of the business means you can talk about big organizations or otherwise you can see small organizations. If the size of the organization is small, then they need less. Sometimes you know that whenever organization starts with a small business, like with the 50,000 or 1 lakh they want to start the business, the size is less. When size is less, fixed capital also required less. So that depends on the size of the business. In the same way, next, types of business. What types of business they wanted to do, that is very important. Only one type of business is doing, then automatically they require only to that organization, that type of business they require fixed capital. Where another organization they are producing a lot of products, they are focusing on many products. For example, you can take Patanjali, they are producing a lot of products like sometimes medicine, sometimes related to the masala, sometimes related to the regular items like oil, paste, soap and all these things. So its unit is spreading a lot. Types of business, they have a lot of types. In the same way, Reliance you can take, Hindustan Lever Limited you can take, Tata Products you can take. So that type of business is big. If you are doing only one type of business, only one product, then you require less fixed capital because you don't require much of equipments, much of plant, much of land, much of furniture, right? So that is why that depends on the type of the business. Next one is that production technique. What is the technique you are using? Nowadays, you know, in every organization they are having a modern technology, and according to the technology and what is the modern methodology is going on, according to that they wanted to start the business, they wanted to follow the new techniques. If you are following new technique, need not to buy, need not to spend much amount on the fixed capital, fixed capital not required. If you are following old method, same technique, same old traditional method, then you require more. So that is why it depends on the production technique, which technique you are using. If you are using shortcut method, modern method and latest technology, you may require less fixed capital. That is why you have to focus on that. Next one, that activities undertaken by the enterprises. Activities undertaken by the enterprises means here you can take a lot of activities where organization is following. Then they require most of the time much fixed capital. Where activities are less, you require less. And also it depends, activities are more if you are following good methods, good techniques as per this one production technique, then the capital, fixed capital may be less. It depends. So activities and production type, what production type you are following it. Next one, non-current and intangible assets. Non-current and intangible assets means it is here. You can take for example intangible assets like copyrights, patents, okay, trademarks, all these things intangible assets. But intangible assets also comes under the fixed capital. So that is why you need to be very careful. How about the goodwill, patents, rights, copyrights, all these things? How about this value? If this value is good, need not to spend much amount on the fixed assets, because you have a very good goodwill, you have a very good recognition, you have a very good platform in the mindset of the consumers in the market. In such cases you require less fixed capital, depends on the intangible assets also. And last one is that mode of acquisition of fixed assets. Mode of acquisition of fixed assets means how do you wanted to purchase the fixed assets, what is the mode of your payment, that is very important. Mode of payment means sometimes you may be making payment at a time you wanted to, means outright you wanted to purchase the fixed assets, you need to spend much of fixed assets, fixed capital. Sometimes you are purchasing the fixed assets on installment basis, outright amount something we have paid and rest of the amount installment wise we wanted to pay. In such cases you require less capital, fixed capital. Best example I'll give you, suppose say I want to buy say 5 lakh equipment I want to buy. If I wanted to pay 5 lakh at a time, then fixed capital is required 5 lakh. Say I don't want to spend that much of amount at a time, then I wanted to pay only 1 lakh. 1 lakh as down payment or initial amount, then after that rest of the 4 lakh installment wise. Installment like first installment, second installment, third installment. So in such cases the burden will be less for the organization, so they need to spend less amount on the fixed capital. That's it. This is about the classification of capital divided into two parts. One is fixed capital, working capital. Working capital we will see in the next class. Now today we have discussed what is fixed capital, importance of fixed capital, and factors which are determining the requirement of the fixed capital. We have discussed simply 7 points: nature or character of the business, or size of the business, and types of business, production technique, what they are using it, and activities undertaken by the enterprise, and non-current or intangible assets. Lastly, mode of acquisition of the fixed assets, whatever they wanted. Based on this, they need the fixed capital. That's it. This is about the fixed capital. In the coming classes, we'll see some more topics, very important topics. So definitely I'll give you a very good clarity about all these topics. Stay connected. There are many subjects which are already prepared. Just check it out and follow this, and don't forget to share these videos. Good luck.